What is something unrealistic that you often see in movies that annoys the hell out of you? When the character is driving and looking at the person they're talking to without crashing or even swerving. I always assume there will be a crash, and when it doesn't happen, it bothers me. You can't look away that much without crashing. I always get nervous when a scene takes place in a car. Because if nothing bad is going to happen, why does the scene take place in a car in the first place? Good morning, class. Let's open our books to page 101. Something Hollywood poignant for 90 seconds. Bell rings in college. Homework for next week is chapter 7. The bell ringing during obvious college classes is probably my #1 thing. What colleges are these people going to? How about when the students just get up and leave when the bell rings? In no class I ever took were we allowed to do that. We had to wait for the teacher to give us permission to leave. And no teacher I have ever had has ever said class dismissed. The bell is for me, not for you. Every class I ever had. Pills that work the second they hit the mouth. Alcohol kicks in the second they swallow. Recovering alcoholic. When I experienced withdrawals, I felt better the moment I took the first sip. In fact, there were many times I felt better the moment I put my hands on the drink. As someone who had seizures from withdrawals, so it wasn't all psychological, there's definitely a huge placebo effect going on, which I guess could extend to pills. How male scientists look like mad scientists and female scientists are all supermodels? Or the male scientists would be lanky, nerdy guys with oversized glasses, or tottering old guys who tremble while speaking. And yes, the female scientist is always a supermodel. Or she's a nerd, in which case she's still a supermodel, but wears glasses. Drives me nuts. Where's the unkempt ladies in pajamas with crazy hair and a wall of animal cages and stacks of paper and test tubes everywhere who yammer on about formulas and cats? When two people walk 5 feet away from the group and have a conversation at full volume, yet somehow no one in the group can seem to hear anymore. My favorite is when two people have a private conversation in the back seat of a car. Did you tell Shane that you slept with Craig yet? Well, since Shane is driving, he probably just heard you. I've noticed in a lot of movies they will let someone into their house but don't shut the front door. Lol. Hey dude, I'm paying for that AC. And turn a light off when you're not in that room. Also, no one ever shuts a gate. I was raised in the country with animals. Shutting gates was drilled into me a whole lot deeper than table manners. Are these people insane? I've noticed that front door thing too. We had indoor cats. Do these people have invisible servants who run around shutting doors behind them? Car wrecks generally do not explode. They only explode for the faceless goons though. If the protagonist is in a serious car crash, they'll walk it off like it was nothing. This is why they explode. It's used as a way of showing the crash was lethal. A realistic crash leaves people wondering whether the person survived. Every time a group of people is looking at a map/diagram/graph, then the leader/scientist/genius says, here, here and here. 3 times. Always. Who does that? You've really opened my eyes to something here. Tons of movie scenes are cascading through my mind. I'll never not notice that now. My Marine friend once said, I don't like war movies because they are either so inaccurate I get angry, or so accurate I get angry. Everyone in San Francisco lives in a giant Victorian house. I'm a print journalist and my husband is a sculptor. That's how you know we're interesting. Also, we live in this house and that's totally realistic. Also, it has a yard. And they find parking right in front of whenever they go. Have you tried to park in that city? Running from someone shooting an automatic gun and avoiding every shot. That's because of our protagonist's special ability. Been watching the Indiana Jones movies while social distancing. It's amazing how every last Nazi is such a terrible shot. Bullets observe the conservation of accuracy principle. If you shoot a single bullet in a movie, it will hit its target 99% of the time. But if you shoot 100 bullets, they each drop to less than 1% of hitting the target. Works with ninjas too. 1 ninja is very dangerous. 30 ninjas is about the same level of threat in total. Firing a weapon and continuing with your conversation. The coffee cup is always empty, you can tell by how flimsy it is in the hand. Yes. That's why I'm so impressed when someone actually eats or drinks on camera. Black Widow eating a peanut butter sandwich in Endgame? Take your Oscar. I've never understood why props doesn't just put water in the cups so the actors hold them correctly. You can hear the cups are empty when they set them on a surface. This never fails to annoy me. Massive breakfast made, and family member rushes out with a piece of toast. Or when they are at a bar or restaurant and leave without drinking anything from their full glass. The amount of anxiety this gives me. Like, all that food freshly made and for what? A sip of milk and a bite of toast. Such a shame. When people with jobs like cops and teachers have super nice houses or apartments. True. Can't tell you how many times I've noticed such unrealistic homes of characters in shows and movies. Damn, do I love me some good set design though. Sitcoms have entered the chat. We are a group of quirky friends. One is a student, one is an intern, the rest are in odd jobs crafted around comedic effect. We can afford to rent this downtown Manhattan apartment, which should realistically cost $5,000 per month. It is mentioned many times that the apartment is still in Monica's grandma's name and, as such, is rent controlled. So, they did explain this issue. People being alcoholics and yet having a perfect body. True, except Thor. He at least got fat. Potatoes in medieval movies. They aren't native to Europe. They're originally from South America, so if there's a potato in your movie set in medieval Europe, that's not historically accurate. The history of potatoes is very fascinating and funny. How hackers hack the system in a minute. I'm actually think of a realistic scene of an hacker. Protagonist, can you hack into the building's security system? Hacker, just leave it to me. 5 hours later everyone is sleeping. The very tired hacker typing slowly while drinking the 40th cup of coffee. Guys, I'm in. Edit, the number of coffee cups. Protagonist, can you hack into the building's security system? Hacker, just leave it to me. 30 minutes later. Hacker, on phone to employee in building. Hello, yes, I'm Mr. Bossman and your computer might be damaged. I need you to open this program and tell me your password so I can check the internet gas isn't escaping through it. Employee, sounds legit. Girls looking perfect? They wake up with makeup on and their hair styled. Even if they're in the hospital. They spend weeks or months in captivity but don't grow leg or armpit hair. They go through a jungle with a group of guys and the men will look like shit, while the girl will get a smudge of dirt on one cheekbone. Takes me right out of the experience, every time. 12 years after the apocalypse. Society has collapsed, people are fighting for scraps, the rule of law is forgotten, electricity and running water are things of the past. The men all have shaggy, but still slightly groomed, beards and long, unkempt hair. Meanwhile, the women have taken time between fleeing zombies/enemy hordes/etc. to shave their legs and armpits, style their hair, and put on makeup. Bottomless magazines and pistols and rifles. Perfect hair after being mauled by a bear, thrown off a cliff, and hit by a car. And then thrown into a dumpster. Movies don't understand how squishy our brains are and how easily we get concussions. Like most action movies, when the hero survives a fall, or Iron Man landing really hard, a lot of car wrecks and so on, in reality should have probably ended up in the protagonist being dizzy and throwing up. Edit, I'm a food worker and very busy so I can't respond to you all, but fuck, this is the most likes I've ever gotten, thank you. No one says goodbye on the phone. Ever. They just finish a sentence and hang up the phone. I hate IT. No one does that, and I have never heard anyone say goodbye in a show or movie. Can I take you to dinner? Sure. Great, I'll see you at 8. Hang up. Where? Where will you see her? You don't know where she lives and you didn't agree on a place. Sword fighting in movies, which is just very large swings, turning around, half-swording and hitting each other's sword to make a nice clang. Also this. Sword pulled from leather scabbard, sound of metal scraping on metal. Sword pulled from belt, sound of metal scraping on metal. Sword drawn along stone column, sound of metal scraping on metal. Sword lands on grass, sound of metal banking on metal. Explosions. Fireballs are from pyrotechnics and they look cool, but they look nothing like real explosions from bombs or grenades. Enhance image. I once saw a feed from a fucking security camera been zoomed and enhanced to see the reflection of the assassin on the eye of the victim. When they do product placements and put the product facing the audience the whole time. Fun fact, sometimes the products are just painted blue or green so they can change advertisers between theater, home, and TV release. In horror films, there's always that harmless thing that startles the main character first, an animal scurrying, object falling, catching their own reflection in the mirror, etc. They laugh it off and then turn around to see the real scare. Every time. What scenes in movies annoys you? Leave a comment. And subscribe to this channel if you wanna see more same videos.